Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing some real-time study. So find something to draw, get some paper, sketchbook, and some drawing utensils, and draw along with me. My subject today is going to be these candies that I got for Christmas. They are made by Candy Labs. They are a Canadian company out of Montreal, and they're little sushis. I'm very excited to draw these. So first things first, I gotta set up. Gonna open the candies. Ooh. They're so cute. It even came with little chopsticks. They're also adorable. Oh, let's see if I can use them. Oh, it's like magic. All right. Eh, eh. Is that too many? Maybe I want it looking more like how I get at the place. Oh, I'm just gonna touch them. Presentation is the key. They are strawberry kiwi flavor. I don't know if you can see that. Tasty. All right, so gotta get it set up. That looks pretty good. All right, let's get drawing. I always start with my biggest shapes first. Throughout this video, I'm going to be switching from voiceover to real-time talking. And I also decided to not put music into this video. I grew to like the background sounds during editing, so I hope you don't mind that. If it's not something you enjoy, I do suggest putting on a bit of music just to maybe cover up some of the sounds that are playing in the background. I really like doing this as a practice. I started really drawing from life this year, actually. And I find it's really helped develop my skills in multiple ways. I can't recommend it enough. I've learned a lot about observation. And perspective. I've learned a lot about perspective doing life drawing. Perspective is my weakest fundamental. That sound in the background is my kettle. I don't know if you can hear it or not. One thing I did a lot this year is draw wooden blocks, like from a kid's toy set. Honestly, I think they were one of the biggest ways I started developing perspective. I would set them up while I was drawing, and I'd even put little like toy animals on them and sit outside on the deck during the summer and do that. It's quite relaxing. Oh, this is difficult. Just a side note, every time I say this year, I mean the year 2020. And I'm recording and editing this in January of 2021. Another thing I did this year was go camping. I did a lot of camping and drawing. That was a fun experience too. I don't go out and explore much, or at least I didn't before this year, to draw in places. And we have some local areas like the Qu'Appelle Valley that are just really beautiful, and camping gave me the opportunity to draw these places, and that was really nice. The Qu'Appelle Valley is very beautiful, and when you live in Saskatchewan, the joke is there's not much for landscape, it's all flat, but you find these nooks and crannies, and there's some really beautiful sights to see. I see a lot of YouTube artists out there who are really good at talking in their videos, and I would like to learn that as a skill. So I would like to do more videos like this, where I'm just talking to you while drawing. And maybe I'll get better at talking and drawing at the same time. It's difficult. I should probably draw on the sticks before I forget. Bam. My water boiled. I should go get that. Oops. I like mechanical pencils. I think they're a really handy tool. My pencils that I have to sharpen by hand are never sharp enough or pointy enough, but these are consistent and I like that. Sometimes I do this in ballpoint pen. I did a lot of my nature drawing in ballpoint pen in a lovely Plum Chester sketchbook, and I really liked doing that too. While camping, the one thing I found myself drawing a lot of was clouds on the move. We went camping one weekend and there were storms kind of all around us, like scattered storm showers. And the one thing I really like about where I live is that these storms, you can watch them building, and trying to draw a cloud that's actively growing posed as quite a challenge. I had to draw really quickly to get all the detail I wanted into it, but if I didn't do it quick enough, the cloud would change and be completely different. Or I would sit in one spot and draw the same cloud cluster a few times, like throughout the course of, I don't know, maybe a couple hours, and to see how much it changed between pictures was really, really neat to capture that in a drawing, I guess is what I'm saying. What is happening here? Okay. All right. So I would really like to put out more videos like this. And I've been thinking about other kinds of content I want to create. I'm not really sure what other things I could really get, or I'm not sure what other things I can do other than the time lapses that I've been doing and the shorts I've been putting out. This is something that I think will help keep me motivated to do my studies and improve while I work on other projects like commissions or my illustrations. Other kinds of practice videos like this I would like to do would be composition studies. Composition isn't something that I actively seek out to study. Like, obviously I'm always looking at how something looks, but to sit down and recreate something for a specific reason like that, I've not really done. And I got a couple of books this year I actually bought this one book with the commission money I earned from the commissions Fenrir and Maximus. Like that commission money from those paintings went to buy a couple of these books. And it's called The Louvre and All the Paintings. And I did a few like color studies from it, and I've looked at it quite a bit. But I would like to really sit down and look at some of the compositions on, let's say, like the landscapes, and really take the time to get to know it and remake these things or break them down and into simpler parts to figure out what makes them work. Every time you see me pause for a long time, it's because I'm really trying to look at my subject and get as much information as possible from it. Do you want outside leaf? Yeah? Okay. There's a lot of linies happening over here, and it's kind of confusing. Some of them are shadows. Maybe if I finish those, that'll look better. Sometimes it's hard to see what I'm looking at, how I'm breaking it down in my head. It's sometimes challenging. Oh, careful. Train. When I first moved into this house, I wasn't quite used to living next to a train, and I actually started having dreams with the train in it. The craziest one I had, this is kind of random, but the craziest dream I had was zombies on a train. I was also watching a lot of Walking Dead at the time, so yeah, it took a while to get used to living next to a train, but now I hardly notice it. Do external sounds ever enter your dreams? I'm kind of curious about what other people's experiences are, so leave a comment if that ever happens to you. One fundamental I'm really trying to be mindful of is line. Because a lot of my work has been with ink lately, to get better at inking for when I start making my visual stories. I enjoy how my illustrations look with the black outline underneath. So even though I'm doing pencil, I can still practice line direction while drawing. Let's see. Cross-hatching is a really cool technique. You can do it with any medium, really. To create more dynamic shadows, if that's the correct word. Now, I didn't want to do this for too long. I was going to have a timer going in front of me for about like 30 minutes because that's, you know, a fairly decent warm-up or study session for something like this. I kind of got lost track of time though because I didn't have a timer. And so now I'm kind of speeding up a little. Because I don't want to keep you too long. You probably have things to do. And I would like to get to work on some other projects. I'm always trying to see where I can make my darkers dark. These guys don't even have shadows yet. That's where like a lot of the information and detail comes from. So all the shadowy bits and highlights. These guys don't even have their sushis yet. They look like smiley faces. I think this is supposed to be the salmon. And this maybe is like avocado or something. Either way, I want to eat sushi real bad. But I can't. These all look so happy. It's cool how they make these. They're all, like I said earlier, they're handmade in Montreal. I got a video up of how they do it, and on their website they even do like master classes of like candy pulling and stuff. It's pretty neat. The other ones I've tried are ones they call acid drops. They're really good. They're sour. And they're like the perfect amount of sour too. Oh, I gotta go let Leaf in. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Hey, it's nighttime. Don't bark. There's a whole shadow over here I'm missing. Next time I do this, I'm gonna set a timer I'm treating the whole process a little too precious, and this is only meant to be a study, right? So next time I'll do that, and I'll be able to control the length of the video maybe a little bit better. Also, if you have any suggestions as to what I should draw next time, just leave a comment. Or if you have any questions about the process or any of my art in general, just leave a comment, because then I'll be able to address it maybe next video and have better things to talk about. As I work on a drawing, all the little details start to become more clear. And it's easier to start adding more to a picture and kind of zooming in on what's happening or what you're looking at. There's a lot of subtle value changes, and in this I feel like I'm not reaching like the darkest darks that I'm actually seeing, but I can get close. The shadow down here is really dark. So this year in 2021, I have a few goals, and one of them is to finish getting my art room finished. I have a spare room in the basement that is slowly being put together. It just needs a few finishing touches, and I can move in a desk and start organizing my art supplies properly. I won't have to work at the kitchen table as often as I do, though I do like working here. The light is fantastic. I'm probably going to be going through a lot of sketchbooks and finally organizing my work for my illustrations. And I also plan on getting a computer and a scanner and a printer all set up and ready to go. I actually haven't had a computer for several years. I do everything from my phone at the moment. So I hope to get a proper setup going where I can get into video editing and digital art and making things, I guess, a little easier. I also want to spend some time in February making some new watercolor palettes. I want to try out some new shapes and maybe sell some later on. If this is your first time watching any of my videos, I have another video out where I make my own watercolor palette I did it out of necessity. I tried to buy a palette online and something went terribly wrong and I wasn't able to receive it or use one. So I ended up just making my own, and it's a great little thing. I really like it. I made a second one in the same shape and I use it constantly. I got to choose how big the well was and the mixing area, and it's held up pretty good. I'm gonna try a different glaze next time. Like I said in my review of it, it stained really bad, and it actually makes it quite difficult to mix light colors. I also want to slow down on commissions coming close to March. I'm gonna be having a baby, so I want to kind of shift my art life around and, obviously adjust to having a new baby in the house. I've had pretty decent luck with getting commissions. This is the first year I've been asked to make paintings for other people, like people approaching me. And it's been really fun. I've really enjoyed making commissions or doing commissions for people. They've been mostly pet portraits, and it's a good challenge to try to push realism and get the likeness of an animal. I also participated in Inktober this year again. It was my third year doing Inktober. I noticed a lot of improvements from last year because I did so much perspective study. I was able to really change the quality of my illustrations. I even have a photo of two side by side from last year and from this year where I kind of redid the image, and it has so much more depth this year than it did last year. So I'm really proud of that. I didn't do Inktober as strictly as the first 2 years I did. I only did 19 illustrations, and sometimes in one illustration I would do multiple prompts and I would combine them as sequential art. So that was another fun challenge. I was able to practice comic making essentially, and I hope to do a lot more of that this year. I hope to actually get some panels made for my graphic story, my visual story. I started uploading shorts to YouTube. They're only about 20 to 30 seconds long, and they're just me going over line art that I've been working on. I might do some more pareidolia stuff for shorts. I have a fun time doing pareidolia art where I find the shapes in it. I'd probably use watercolor for that and make a bunch of ink blots and turn those into drawings. Sometimes when I'm recording, it's really hard to get the right angle on things. I have to resist the urge to flip my paper to make it easier to get the right amount of shading. I'm starting to pause more to really take a look at my subject, to continue to find all the fine details and the darkness that I'm missing in this piece. I have 3 lights overhead, so sometimes the shadows can look a little wonky. You can see them as I move my hand across the paper, that I have 3 lights above me. It can make for some really interesting shadows. So I have to really look at what I'm doing. Another thing I did a lot of this year was drawing on my lunch breaks at work. I would take a tiny little moleskin sketch journal with me, as well as a facial expression book I have, and I would draw faces from the book on my lunch breaks. It was really good. I have recently stopped doing that, because sometimes you just want to sit on your break. Train. And so yeah, I would like to start doing practice at work that way. It gives me at least half an hour of uninterrupted practice, which is never a bad thing. I would also like to do more figure drawing this year. For some reason in 2020, I didn't do a lot of figure drawing. I always recommend people who want to get better at posing characters or making dynamic poses to do figure drawing. It's a really great practice, and yet I have not had time between the other things I've been practicing to really get back into it. So I'm going to be finding time to do more of that again, because it's like a muscle, right? Like if you stop doing something, it gets harder to do that something, and that's with anything, including drawing. So I would really like to do that more. Maybe I'll do that at work too. There's some websites I use, like Line of Action, or even YouTube, that has a lot of figure drawing sessions. I really enjoy the timed sessions the best, where it's quick poses, I guess, like 10 seconds each, and then they get longer as you ease into it. I typically do like a 30-minute session, and that will be my practice. I think I'm almost done this drawing, which is good because I'm running out of things to talk about. If I'm gonna keep making videos like this, I should probably figure out things to talk about. So if you have any suggestions, please leave a comment, and maybe we could discuss some art things. I'm just starting to add in the smaller details, adding little lines for what I think are the salmons. These candies are pretty tasty. You probably heard I was eating a couple earlier on in the video. They have really great flavor. The sour ones are still my favorite. I've also tried the maple ones. The maple ones are really good. They taste like genuine maple, which I would hope so, coming from Quebec, which is, where maple syrup comes from. I'm just adding some extra dark spots now. I find that the pencil doesn't really pick up on the camera very well. It could be my light that I have overhead. Maybe if it wasn't as bright, the graphite might not reflect it as much, because I think that's kind of what's happening. The whole drawing looks a little washed out. I think that looks pretty good. Ugh, I keep dropping my pencil. For a roughly 30-minute study, I think this is where it's at. I think I'm going to call it done. I could probably go into it a little more, but I won't. I have other things I would like to draw. Thanks for joining me for my first art study of 2021. I hope you found it enjoyable, and let me know what kind of questions and topics you want to discuss for next time. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.